We're going to be joined for our final panel of the day. Hard to believe that we're already coming to that stage of the day, but we are going to be joined by a panel of distinguished guests to discuss fueling the disruptive innovation of Web3 through fundraising and acceleration. Our guest speakers are going to help us understand how strategic collaborations between established blockchain entities and forward-looking venture capital firms can drive sustainable growth and development in this space. Please welcome our moderator, first of all, for this discussion, Amarpreet Singh. He is global head of business development for EMURGO. He's also got a fantastic panel of guests, so a round of applause, please. Thank you.
Hello, hello. Last session of the day, last session of Cardano Summit. Do we still have people up and alive? Lights are too bright, I cannot see. But hopefully this will be worth your time. So diving right in, there's a saying, right? Attention goes where money flows. And this panel is all about money. Fundraising, VC, how does it tie into Web3? What makes Web3 hot, and so on. I have a star-studded panelists line up with me. Starting on my left, Nikhil from EMURGO. We have Mongi from Antler. We have McKinsey here, Saurish, and Markus from Antler again. I'll give about 30 seconds for each one of you to introduce yourself, starting from you, Saurish. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Saurish. I'm an associate partner with McKinsey. I work at the intersection of financial services and emerging technologies like Web3, like AI, Gen AI. So whether it's a football club that wants to tokenize fan passion or an exchange that wants to reduce investing amount to $1, that's where I like to play.
Markus.
Hi, everyone. I'm Markus. I'm one of the partners at Antler based out of Singapore. Antler is a global early-stage venture capital firm, backing founders from the very beginning. We run residency programs where we connect them with a co-founder, help them find the right idea, invest from the very beginning, and have so far made 1,300 investments globally, including almost 50 in Web3. Have residency programs in Dubai, Riyadh, Singapore, other parts of the world. And yeah, definitely also a high conviction on the opportunities in Web3.
Thanks, Markus. Mongi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mongi. I'm also part of Antler with Markus. I'm heading the Ibex solution of Antler, which is basically our corporate innovation and investment arm, where we leverage our Antler ecosystem with more than 1,300 startups and link them with leading industry players such as EMURGO to develop new solutions and to help them in their innovation journey and growth and scale.
Over to you, Nikhil.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nikhil Joshi. I'm the COO at EMURGO. For those of you who are unfamiliar, EMURGO is one of the founding entities of Cardano. We are here to facilitate commercial adoption. And as COO, I'm typically spinning many plates at the same time.
Brilliant. My name is Amar. I'll be moderating this panel. I'm Global Head of Business Development at EMURGO. Talking of crypto, talking of Cardano, we have Antler here. I heard from Markus, 1,300 plus startups. That's insane. McKinsey here. We have Nikhil here. So we're going to, before we go into details and nuts and bolts of investments, I'd like to ask you, especially you, Saurish, and you, Markus, what are the emerging trends that you see with investors and founders in Web3 space currently? Yeah. Saurish, you can go first.
Sure. So when I see this, I actually see three types of investors. One is the digital asset native players who are looking for adoption. Hence, they're looking for how their technology, their platforms can be accelerated. The second archetype that I see is the financial investor who is trying to understand, how the Web3 opportunity can unlock opportunities in their traditional rubric of revenue multiples, profit multiples, customer multiples. And then I'm seeing the emergence of strategic investors. These are people who understand that in their world, there are problems that can be solved by Web3. They have a lot of conviction and they have a lot of patience. They want to invest. They want to participate in the growth of Web3 technologies and solutions. And more, we are seeing the latter two recognizing that the real-world problems can be solved by Web3 and are beginning to participate here.
Okay, so I'm picking it up as real-world problems because I'm looking for trends here, type of investors, I got it. I'll come back to you on that one, but Markus, what are the emerging trends? Give me 2, 3 good ones.
Yeah, so I would agree there's definitely, given that now a lot of the scalability improvements have been made, there is a huge opportunity to build solutions that help the next hundreds of millions users to tap into Web3. So usability, real-world adoption is one theme across various use cases. Then there is also still a lot of innovation in DeFi. On one side, leveraging Web3 on the backend to make smoother cross-border payments, leveraging of stable coins, finding a better way to also make solutions compliant, or finding the balance between that. Besides that, there is opportunities in deepin is one theme, and also over time, gaming and social interaction. I think there is generally going away from just play to earn towards better gameplay and better use cases around that.
Brilliant, Markus. I asked you for 2, 3. I got 7, 8.
Yeah.
So I'll summarize that. So basically, real world as RWAs, as we are talking, adoption, deepins, stable coins, on and on, right? So we know the emerging trends, but I'll go to Nikhil and Mongi. Now that we know the present, where is the future? How do you see crypto evolving from here, next 5 years of crypto? I'll start with you, Nikhil.
Okay, so I think that we're going to see a few more countries incorporating Bitcoin in the way they look at reserves. Won't be a loads, but it will be 1 or 2, I think. We're going to see changes happening on the periphery, right? So here we see Italy announcing a big tax hike, right, for crypto. At the same time, we've seen Japan also announce this week they're going to drop it to a flat rate of 20%. I think countries are going to start to see there's ways for them to reinvent themselves economically, macroeconomically, because of the way they play, the way they attract talent, or in fact, encourage talent to move away through these kind of peripheral mechanisms. That was not quite in the crypto scene, but I think there's these are the peripheral concerns or things to think about. I think there's going to be more tokenization, but not just tokenization like we've seen this year, which is just real-world asset has become almost a little bit cliched at this point. I think people will want to see tokenization that does something more than past liquidity and settlement.
Very nice. Mongi.
Sure. Building on what you shared, Nikhil, I think what we foresee and what we are really excited about is like mass adoption by Web2 users, right? I think for crypto natives, they're using the current different products and tools that are there, and that's great. But where we're really excited is how to bring that to Web2 users and mass adoption by them. And that for us is not linked to the technology, but really to which pain points and problem do you solve. And in the end, for them, they don't care, does it run on a Web3 blockchain or something else. It's like, how do you provide more value to them through technology? And then once we are able to do that, then we are opening the gates of mass Web2 users adoptions. And we're really excited to see that happen, leveraging the technology, the security, the scalability, the cross-border payment solutions that we have now today.
I quite like that, right? So you have emerging trends, and you see how crypto will look 5 years from now. Maybe the beauty of the solution is that nobody knows the technology. They're just using the solution. Countries are adopting it. Institutions are adopting it. So very nice. With that, now we'll go 2 clicks deeper into investments, fundraising. We are at Cardano Summit, so I'll throw in a bit of Cardano flavor as well. Starting from you, Markus. So Antler is known for evaluating projects in Web2 for the longest time, right? What's the difference when you evaluate Web3 projects? What do you look for, and so on?
Yeah, so overall, we don't look at it in a very different way, given that we come in at the pre-seed to Series A stage. Especially my focus is at the pre-seed and seed stage, so it's a lot about the team and then also product and market, which is important. On the team side, we're looking for founders that have a high ambition level. They're not satisfied to just work on a passion project or an SME, but they want to build a huge outcome that touches 100 million plus users and work towards something big, and then having complementary skill sets, having the right level of experience. On the product side, it's important to understand that they're solving a real problem, then that Web3 is needed, and this blockchain is the right technology to solve the problem, which is often not the case. So understanding that there is a clear solution and ties back to the problem, that it's also scalable, and the team can build a tech. And as a last point on the market is, it's more about timing. So we would like to see teams building something new, novelty, something that has not been tried more than 1 to 3 years ago, that is also building on the recent changes in, let's say, regulations, scalability improvements, the overall involvement of the ecosystem, and then also targeting a big enough space that can then reach to $100 million plus opportunity from that.
Well, Markus, you always pack a lot of punch in your answer. There's a lot going on there. I'll unpack that, but I like it. It's quite refreshing to see VC saying that, hey, we're looking for long-term adoption. We're looking for scalability, something in roots, because as you know, in crypto world, the term pump and dump is used quite a bit. Yeah. So it's refreshing for Web2 VCs to come and educate and evolve this industry as well in the right manner, right? With that, Saurish, going to you now. What are the barriers that you see that come for institutions to adopt Web3 technology? What do they look at? What's stopping them right now?
I'll tell you, the one-word answer is language. And what I mean by that is the number of times an institution fails to recognize that this is how the technology will solve my problem is unbelievable. To the point that sometimes institutions are scared because they don't understand the technology and hence expect a lot of risks associated. Having said that, one trend now is people talk about the technology, and you'll see and hear more people using Web3. And if I go back a few years, people would talk more about crypto. And hence, the value is shifting from the underlying token to the problem that's being solved by technology. But that's the barrier, language. How can I translate my solution to, or my technology to the solution that it's going to offer and build?
Makes sense, makes sense. I'll come back to you on that as well, because I want to go 2 more clicks deeper, because this is important. So audience must be wondering, what is Antler doing here? What is McKinsey doing here? This is Cardano Summit. So basically, if folks in audience have not seen the announcement, Antler has partnered with EMURGO to support Cardano ecosystem. McKinsey will consult in that as well. And basically, the idea is to drive adoption, real-world use cases. That's what we'll touch upon a little bit. With that bit of flavor, I'll go to you, Nikhil, talking a little bit about Cardano. So we all know Cardano is known for its decentralized nature, right? And with that, some unique opportunities and so on. So what are the unique opportunities of fundraising for both projects, as well as for investing for investors when they look at decentralized nature of Cardano?
Sure. So I think on the investor side, I think the benefits of looking at a decentralized space is that by virtue of its decentralization, anyone can get up and get running, right? So you don't necessarily have to put all your eggs in the first basket, right? There is a much more level playing field in terms of projects being able to build and run with an idea, or indeed build something better on something that came before it. So I'd probably describe it as a bit more of a level playing field of what an investor wants to look at. And of course then global in its nature, and all of that brings with it, be it cultural mindset, et cetera, On the project side, I think there are pros and cons, I think, to being in a space that's fairly decentralized. And maybe decentralization is not the defining factor here, but it is perhaps, there are many ways to access funding, but sometimes within a particularly decentralized space, particularly one like Cardano, it can be difficult to identify where do I go, how do I make myself known and heard, how do I access the potential sources of investment. And that's one reason why we've brought this partnership to Cardano, is that we can highlight this, and at least one source of potential entry here is now with Antler.
Makes sense. Quick one to you, Mongi. I'll give you a minute for this one because this is a quick one. We talked about Antler partnership with EMURGO, Ibex. What is Antler EMURGO partnership? What is Ibex? How does it help support the Cardano ecosystem? Your view on it?
Yeah, sure. So Antler is the early stage venture capital. Ibex is our corporate innovation and investment arm, which basically bridge those two. What does it mean for EMURGO and for the founders here, right? So basically, they now get access to all the Antler knowledge and ability to access to networks, access to network over more 1,300 companies, access to our capital, access to our talent also. We have 25,000 more founders which are in our database, which can complement some of your team. And then last but not least, let's access to ID validation and commercializations. I've met a lot of great tech founders in the past 2 days, right? But then how do you spin that around, and how do you ensure that the idea is commercially valuable? How do you ensure it's VC backable? How can they get access to that? Is through our Antler residencies, or for later stage team, through directly talking to a portfolio team. So they can talk to us, and then they can get access to that knowledge to further scale, grow from network to people to funding.
Very good. Thanks for that, Mongi. Markus, coming to you. You have very good in-depth experience of Web3, but also you have worked with a lot of Web2 companies, investments, especially tech ones, right? This is a combination which is not very frequent in the industry, right? So I'd like to ask you, what difference do you see when it comes to tech startup investment versus pure Web3 investments? And what approach do you take? What's the difference in approach when it comes to both?
Yeah. Yes, so there's definitely one of the main differences that there is different type of investors, at least to now, and I hope that will converge over time. So there were the Web3 native funds that primarily invested in tokens. They were a bit less focused on the real world use case, and often the time horizon, as we discussed before, is a bit shorter term. They were often thinking in the shorter cycles, whereas traditional VCs would look at the teams more in a conventional way. They think about they look at equity investments, and increasingly are also open towards tokens or a combination of it. They would be much longer term focused. So I think that. But it's still, there is not enough cases of doing things converging together, which I think now with a lot of scalability issues being resolved, this will change. The investment instrument, whether a startup is raising token or equity in the Web2 world, is always equity. In the Web3 world, if you're intrinsically decentralized, you should probably only do a token. If you're building a Web3 solutions that doesn't necessarily need staking or a token, you should probably not launch one and do an equity round. In some cases, it can be a combination of both, but that's often a big challenge for investors to have this conflict of interest between maximizing equity holder interests and token holder interests. So I think also standards here are going to evolve. Then I think other than that, there is also a bit of a reputational thing. A lot of, given what happened with Luna, FTX and other, I think we need to always be mindful to ensure that startups we invest in, they have proper risk management, they have done the regulatory assessment, and we want to avoid some of these cases to happen again. But overall, I would say the biggest difference is really that two separate type of investors are now converging, and then the token versus equity setup that still needs to be resolved, and the time horizon that should become longer term as we go.
Very interesting, very insightful. Token, equities, how do this world merge? Fintech, by very definition, is finance plus technology, and now these two verticals are merging more and more, especially when you have a token representing financial aspects of a technology or technology project. That's very, very unique, right? Talking on that, again, I'm going to throw a curveball your way. I'm going to ask each one of you 10, 20 seconds. If I strip off token of all crypto or assets, A, do most of the projects need token, or is it just a way to have access to fund or liquidity? B, because of tokens, do projects use tech or Web3 for the sake of Web3, just because they can use token for money? So these are just yes or no answers, starting from you, Saurish, rapid fire. Do projects need token?
Yes. I mean, that's the foundation of value. But does it have to be ICO and the only source of value? Not really. If you were there talking about real world assets, those tokens, you need tokens there. You need to represent a part of the
I'll stop
asset.
you there. It's a 10, 20-second one. Yes or no? Most of the crypto projects, do they need token, or is it just for liquidity and funding?
I think they need a token if there is a very clear...
Yes or no?
Most projects should probably not launch a token, most of them.
All right. Yeah. Mongi, over to you. Same question.
In my view also, I don't think all of them need to, right? I think they're using, so short answer, not all of them need a token.
Sure. Nikhil, over to you.
10 seconds.
Yes.
No.
That's it. One word, 10 seconds, best way to optimize it. Now moving and changing gears a bit, I heard Mongi's view on Antler partnership, what Antler does, what Antler brings, right? I'd like to hear Nikhil's view on Antler-EMURGO partnership. How does it benefit what EMURGO is building, how EMURGO will use it, and of course, how it will add value to Cardano as well. So over to you, Nikhil.
Sure. So in the past, EMURGO has had a ventures business. We don't really want to have that activity anymore. We have invested as an LP in a fully regulated VC whose business it is to be a VC and make returns. But because we're not undertaking that activity, and that's largely driven because of where is our resource best placed, and are we experts? And the short answer, I think, is no, we think we're better at other things, quite frankly. So in the absence of handing out those tickets in a ventures capacity, what we wanted to do here was work with experts such as Antler to help bring in that, not only just bringing in the external capital, but actually having the resource to work with projects to provide the support, to provide the network that is, in a way, Web3 agnostic, right? By definition, what these guys have said is that they're predominantly Web2, and if Web3 offers a solution, then they'll pursue it, but it's not the be-all and the end-all. And so that's part of it, is that we want to help address that particular challenge within Cardano of bringing external capital in. But from EMURGO's point of view, what we're interested in pursuing now is effectively establishing a financial stack, right? And so you will have seen, hopefully, that we're launching USDA in coming weeks, so that we've got a stable coin. We've got a tokenization platform where, of course, by definition, we've tokenized US dollars. We've announced a project with another partner company, Kinka, which is a Japanese listed company tokenizing gold. And we'll be announcing other things in the next few weeks with different asset classes to show that we're asset class agnostic. And we have the technology to basically provide institutional grade self-custody. So that's what we deem to be a foundational layer of this financial stack. And then we will continue to build over and above that. So what joining in the Ibex structure allows us to do is actually get closer to the portfolio that Antler has, where projects are working on real world application and solving for real life problem statements or real-life opportunity statements. And then there's many ways to skin the cat, like how might we work with those portfolio companies? How might we bring those portfolio companies into other parts of Cardano, right, to work with other folks within the ecosystem? There are many ways to approach that. Those are our two main drivers for engaging in this relationship with Antler. And I think we're very openly say we're very proud that we've got this over the line. There's many boxes that are being ticked for Cardano as well as for ourselves, EMURGO specifically, through this.
Brilliant. Just to summarize, basically, so we have heard about different use cases, right? Stablecoin, EMURGO is working on, gold-backed coin, other real-world assets, on and on, right? And with Antler, this financial stack will only grow. Talking of use cases, I'll go across the panel here. I want everyone to list one, or if you want even two, top use cases of crypto or Web3 that you are seeing right now, right? I'll start with Markus first. Markus, what are your top 1 or 2 use cases that you're seeing of Web3 across the board? Or which might be in future, which doesn't exist now. Yeah. So
maybe let me share one that I haven't mentioned before, which is around the whole evolvement of AI. I think there is going to be now it's an exciting time to think about whether Web3 can provide some compliance requirements to run AI model, and also ensure integrity of data sets that are used for AI. I would love to see more in that space. Yeah.
Okay, 20 seconds only. Saurish, over to you. Top use case.
Tokenization of intangibles, like fan passion. Yeah.
Very cool. Mongi?
We've talked a lot about like payment, DeFi and all that. The one I'm excited about is even beyond that, like identity management, tracking of anything, like from supply chains to science to biotech and all those kind of solutions. I'm really excited to see those use cases coming.
Very nice. Nikhil?
Sorry, a bit of repetition, but I think stablecoin is just all over everywhere you look, it's all over the place. So that's right now. I think the other one, and this is touching on what Mongi said, is I think definitely seeing a lot more Web2 folks realizing that they can address some of their onboarding / KYC issues by using, decentralized identity, zero knowledge proofs, right? Mm-hmm. Not as mostly as a way to increase the size of their addressable market, right? And I think this penny is starting to drop. That it's not just about a compliance thing; it's a new revenue opportunity that they haven't had before.
Very cool, very cool. So we have heard what investors are interested in, what are the difference between tech and Web3. We have heard top use cases. We have heard how crypto might evolve, what are emerging trends. I'll flip it a little bit, 10 seconds to each one of you. If you're an investor, not representing Antler, not representing EMURGO, not representing McKinsey, let's say Saurish Inc., Markus Inc., what is that one thing that will put you off and you will not invest in that project or Web3 project? One thing, 5 seconds each.
If they talk about how the value of the token will grow.
Markus?
If they use a lot of buzzwords around crypto and tokens without explaining the solution.
Mongi?
If they don't know what real world pain point they're solving.
Nikhil?
For me, because I'm not from a technology background, if it's purely anchored in the technology, I'm not going to get it.
Brilliant, brilliant. So making it easy to consumers. I hope most other projects here got how they can reach out to VCs and so on, what VCs are looking for, what are the pain points in Web3, how Web3 will look 5 years from now, top use cases, how we are addressing it, on and on. With that, ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause. Saurish from McKinsey, Markus from Antler, Mongi from Antler, Nikhil from EMURGO. Give a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.